All right, Kirk, let's check out Tacoma's closest competitor, the Nissan Frontier. Now, this particular model is a crew cab, V6, four-wheel drive. And when you take a first look at it, what do the design cues tell you about the vehicle?
Well, a lot of the styling cues look very similar to the Tacoma, the segment leader. Nissan gave this vehicle some bold, aggressive lines. It's got large tires and an aggressive stance. One thing I want to point out, this is a 2010 model.
Okay.
We expect in 2011 model to be very similar without very few changes.
Now, I think it only comes with a couple cab options, is that right?
That is correct. The Nissan is only available with two cabs, the Crew and the King cab, so it's less choices than with the Tacoma.
Well, let's take a closer look at it.
Okay.
Let's talk about the performance of the Nissan Frontier. What do we have under the hood here?
This vehicle is equipped with a 4-liter V6. This vehicle makes good power and good torque. However, the Toyota Tacoma outtows the Nissan Frontier.
Now, what about four-cylinder models?
That's a good thing, because everybody wants a V6. The 4-cylinder models make good horsepower and good torque and still outtow the Nissan 4-cylinder models.
And for 2011, we're going to be adding some four-cylinder models to the Tacoma lineup, is that correct?
That is correct. We're going to introduce 4 additional models with 4 cylinders and automatic transmissions.
Now, just like the Tacoma, the Nissan Frontier is a capable off-road vehicle, isn't that right?
That is correct. However, the Toyota Tacoma has a few benefits over the Nissan Frontier. For starters, the Nissan Frontier's wheels are 1.5 inches narrower than the Tacoma's.
So the Tacoma has a more planted look, a little more stable?
That is correct. In addition, the turning radius on this is 31 inches wider.
Okay, so it's a little less maneuverable in a parking lot, or if I'm off-road and I need to get out of a tight situation.
You're going to need more room to turn this vehicle around. And one other feature is that the shocks on this vehicle are mounted inboard of the rear leaf springs, so it's not going to have as much stability as the Toyota Tacoma.
Let's see what we got inside.
All right, let's take a look.
To me, overall, the Frontier's interior is pretty nicely appointed. I like a lot of these, the design here. This is pretty nice. The seat's not quite as comfortable. I'm kind of missing those bolsters that we talked about in the Tacoma. And also, I noticed there's a little less storage down here in the center console.
That's correct. And one other thing I want to point out to you, Jeff, is notice something about the steering wheel? It's tilt only. There's no telescope. One other thing is over here on the side here, you have your aux input for the stereo and your power. Well, if you're going to put your MP3 there, the tray is not conveniently located to the location of these optional aux player. This is not standard. On the Tacoma, the auxiliary input is standard.
I also don't really love the design of this dash up here. I mean, I'm not sure what I would put in that little storage area.
There's not really anything you can put up there because it'll roll around when you're driving or move.
Yeah.
One other thing, my favorite feature is missing, the rear backup camera.
It's not even available on this truck?
Not even available.
Now, since the Nissan Frontier is such a close competitor to the Toyota Tacoma, I got to imagine that in safety they're pretty similar.
Actually, they're not. The Nissan Frontier does not have brake assist, which is part of the Toyota Star safety system standard on all Toyotas. In addition, NHTSA only gave the Nissan Frontier a 4-star frontal crash test rating, and all the Tacomas are 5 stars. Initially, it doesn't seem too bad. It's a little harsh for my taste, but a customer needs to ask themselves, is this a vehicle I can live with on a day-to-day basis and on long trips? I mean, most people don't have a lot of, a vehicle for long trips and a vehicle for daily driving. So this is the car you would have to drive on a long trip, and I think it's going to provide a little too much feedback. We're going over some bumps right now. I mean, how does it feel to you?
I mean, it's pretty bumpy. I mean, it's definitely a lot more shocking than the Tacoma was,
Yes.
Especially that bump right there. And this is the same road we drove over with the Tacoma. I definitely feel it a lot more. I could definitely see how after a while I'd get pretty tired of it. So let's see how the Nissan Frontier handles securing cargo. It's got a nice big cargo bed. I like this deck rail system here. It's pretty clean.
Yeah, Nissan went a different route. They use a spray-on bed liner.
Okay.
And they also have a deck rail system in the floor. This thing has the potential to capture a lot of dirt and debris. There's also no interior storage compartments on here. And if you're tailgating, where are you going to plug in your blender back here?
Oh, it doesn't come with the inverter.
There's no 115-volt inverter.
Is that even available?
It's not available on the Nissan.
I can't plug in my blender.
No, sir, I'm sorry. Not in the Nissan.
No. Okay, so what I've learned from our comparison between the Toyota Tacoma and the Nissan Frontier, Kirk, is that the Frontier is a solid competitor to the Tacoma, but according to IntelliChoice, it may cost thousands of dollars more over time for an owner.
In this comparison, the Tacoma has some key advantages. It has a higher tow rating, a wider track with greater maneuverability, also has added safety features such as brake assist, a more comfortable and versatile interior with the standard aux jack and an available backup camera, as well as extra cargo bed features.
So there you have it. The Toyota Tacoma solidly outperforms the Nissan Frontier in some key areas.